your strain. You can remember your name. Oh, good heavens, look at all this. Welcome, foolish mortals. It's Halloween at the Jester. Thank you so much. We're the Icebox Radio Theater, and this beard is going to last about 2 minutes. I can tell that right now. Thank you so much for coming out. Thanks to Rayanne again for organizing all this. We have, I hope, a fun evening of comedy and a few scary stories in store for you all. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown, we're going to be doing two halves with a song in each, and about a 15-minute break in between. But, hello. Rayanne always wants to remind everyone, if you want to get up and get something else to drink or eat during the show, go right ahead. We're fine. We're just focused on our thing up here. And let's see, I think that's about it. So we move on with the introduction of our becostumed cast. I'm Jaundice Jeffrey Adams, or the Winter Warlock. Thank you so much for coming today. Right behind me, hiding, is a rich vibe. That is Justin, what we decide? Decapitation. Decapitation. We're going for the cute names. It's going over like a ton of bricks. It's, ladies, we should give applause. Give it up, a round of applause there for Justin. Jittery Jade Hall of Fantasy, ladies and gentlemen. The first funny name I came up with, she is the backbone of this organization. Ladies and gentlemen, McIntosh is right there. Seafaring Scary. What was the thing you didn't want me to say? Was it scary? Yeah. Scotta Turner, ladies and gentlemen. Give her a big hand. And, of course, the Crypt Keeper, Caleb Silvers. I almost got it out. It was fine, yes. Thank you so much, Caleb. We've got a whole lot of fun stuff going, but let's see, what time have we got? Yes, it's just about that time. So one of the great things about the Icebox Radio Theater, we don't just pretend to be a radio theater. We actually broadcast these shows live. Scotta, you'll want your chimes. Yeah. They drew straws for who gets to do the chimes, and she lost.
No, it was, and they just said, you're doing it.
Yeah, it was a not it. We actually broadcast on our own streaming station, which means we begin the way they would have done back in the day. How's the levels? Ian, do we sound good? Do we want to do, we did sound check earlier, so it should be okay. It's 7 o'clock at the edge of America, and the Icebox Radio Theater is on the air. Trust me, it is. We now preempt our regular programming for a special presentation. Stay tuned for a live broadcast from the Icebox Radio Theater. Now it's 7 o'clock at the edge of America, and the Icebox Radio Theater is on the air. It's the Icebox Radio Theater, coming to you live from the stage of the Salty Jester in International Falls, Minnesota. Tonight, All Hallows Eve is nearly upon us, and the ghosts of autumn's past swirl outside like so many dry leaves and snowflakes, unfortunately. Featured tonight, we have The Trunk, we have Woody and Dunghauser, we have a brand new Lance Manley, plus musical guest Bonfire Heart. They're frighteningly good. So light your jack-o'-lanterns, curl up cozy, and get ready for Spook-a-Boo 23! All this right after a word from our sponsor. It's Halloween time again, and we got all your favorite costumes, decorations, and more at the Northland Pop-Up Halloween Store. Why dress up as the usual witches, pop stars, and axe murderers when you can scare up the holiday the Northland way? We got all your favorite costumes that seem normal to other people but'll scare local folks right out of their wits. Some of our most popular costumes include New Neighbor You've Never Met Before.
Howdy, I just moved from St. Peter. Can I borrow your lawnmower?
Teenage Daughter's New Boyfriend Who Talks Gibberish.
I'm like skipping college to focus on my TikToks. Also, I'm a trance DJ.
Idiot Brother-in-Law Who Thinks He Knows Fishing but doesn't.
Now, before you tie that minnow on a jig, you gotta add about 3 mini marshmallows, a little ball of peanut butter, and spray it all with Lysol and deer musk.
And scariest of all, the oversharing dental hygienist.
Open a little wider, please.
Huh?
Oh, such a urinary tract infection I have. I swear. It's like I've got fire ants down there. Of course, a little wider, please. Of course, my boyfriend doesn't care. He just digs around in there like he's looking for buried treasure.
And if you're looking to be a little naughty this Halloween, we got a whole rack of sexy costumes to get you all the attention you can possibly stand. Like sexy deer,
I'm in season.
sexy walleye,
Jig my minnow, big boy.
even sexy goalie.
Everything rhymes with puck.
And if you spend more than $50 at the Northland Halloween pop-up store, we'll throw in the Scary Sounds of the Northland CD for your listening pleasure. It's got all the scary sounds, like the noise your father-in-law makes when he's watching you in the garage. Or the noise your mother-in-law makes while she's watching you in the kitchen. And the visiting pastor asking for testimonies while staring right at you.
Who will stand up and confess their sins? Is it you, my son?
Yes, the Northland Halloween pop-up store. Everything half price on November 1st, switching to the Magic of Christmas with Jesus pop-up No Happy Holiday store on November 2nd. Too Bright, the only booklight guaranteed to blind children trying to soap your windows, presents Lance Manley, Library Detective.
Crazy thing about libraries, they got all kinds of books. That's kind of the point, actually. A story for every reader and a reader for every story. Or so says my boss, Effie Standish, head librarian. Which isn't to say librarians don't have their preferences. Take Effie, for example. She'll read young adult drivel and crass commercial cash grabs without batting an eye. But there is one category that boss lady refuses to touch. That, believe it or not, is the horror story. So you can only imagine how I felt when our little bibliotech developed a spook problem of its own, and I had to put together an ad hoc Hardy Boys Nancy Drew team to deal with it.
We'll be back to Lance Manley in just a moment. But first, friends, Halloween is nearly here. And for many is a joyous occasion filled with fun and frivolity, might be just the opportunity foreign elements need to invade your home and steal your family. The line between childish prank and open warfare is a thin one. So this Halloween, don't trust your neighborhood delinquents to know when enough is enough. Stop them in their tracks with the All Hallows Eve package from Too Bright. Illuminate your home and blind neighborhood children with 2 50 million candle-powered jack-o'-lanterns to go along with our ghost decoration that shoots high-powered lasers capable of singeing human flesh. Yes, this year, make sure that only the most innocent trick-or-treaters step onto your property with the only security package of its kind available without a permit. The All Hallows Eve package from Too Bright. Look for our station wagon with the missing taillight down by the docks and have cash ready. Too Bright, because they're all laughing at you, you know. Now back to Lance Manley, Library Detective.
Holidays are a special time at most libraries. Decorations go up, bowls of candy appear, only of the non-sticky variety, of course, and this staff selection shelf features the best of Stephen King and H.P. Lovecraft. But rubber spiders and hair-raising narratives were not the norm around our library due to Boss Lady Effie's aforementioned aversion to books about things that go bump in the night. But not everyone in the building shared Effie's opinion of the horror genre. In fact, Nora Diamond, girl cataloger, was positively crazy for the subject. And guess who was stuck square in the middle? Well, the only good thing about this little seasonal feud was that it encouraged Nora to hang around my office, trying to win me over to her side. On the afternoon it all started, she had her gorgeous gams up on my desk, and even with spider-web printed stockings, she was severely testing my neutrality.
I just don't get it, Lance.
Well, if you want it, dollface, all you have to do is ask.
What?
What? Never mind. We were talking about Effie, right?
Yes. I mean, who doesn't love Halloween?
Well, she let you decorate the joint, didn't she? And she let you wear that witchy outfit for story time.
Well, what witchy outfit? This is just a black pencil skirt.
That bewitches me plenty. And the pumpkin earrings set off your eyes just so.
Oh, you're sweet. But the point is, it's hard to get into the holiday spirit when the boss is stomping around like a mountain troll.
Cut her some slack. Our fearless leader would just as soon skip the spooky season and go straight to Christmas.
Yes, but why?
Mystery to me, dollface. I just know she gets like this every October. When the rest of us are reading Something Wicked This Way Comes, she's digging into much lighter fare. I saw her thumbing through a Hallmark Channel novelization the other day.
Oh, that's truly frightening.
Indeed. But asking about this particular rumpus goes against my personal rule to remain employed.
Coward.
Yeah, guilty. Now, how about we talk about where I'm taking you to dinner tonight?
Go on.
Mel's Diner has a whole Halloween buffet.
Mel's changing the menu?
No, but he's given everything a disgusting name and added green food coloring.
Oh, I'll try it. Honestly, Lance, at this point, I'd appreciate anything spooky.
Lance!
Doghouse? This is a private office. Knock next time.
Oh, relax, Lance. It's not that private.
It was gonna be private.
No, it wasn't. Now, Doghouse, what's wrong? You look white as a ghost.
The basement.
Well, what about it?
Lance, Miss Diamond, you just gotta come see. You won't believe it, but I think our library is haunted.
Doghouse Riley was a pretty good janitor and a fantastic snitch who had contacts all over town. I teamed up with him more than once to bring all kinds of nefarious types to justice, which is why I was pretty surprised to see his knees knocking in double time over an idea as silly as a ghost. So, Nora and I followed a pale and quaking Doghouse downstairs to the basement where he led us to a particularly dark corner. It was currently home to some dusty furniture and a section of the old card catalog. The one light bulb overhead was burned out, and the next closest source of illumination was 50 feet away. If I was a ghost, this was exactly the kind of spot I'd do my haunting. These thoughts I kept to myself as Doghouse pointed a quivering finger into the gray gloom and whispered.
It was there, right there.
What was, Hamlet's pappy?
Oh, hush, Lance. Go on, Doghouse. What'd you see?
An ethereal figure in white.
Oh, what?
Oh, quiet. Go on.
She was standing right there, reaching for that middle drawer in the old card catalog, MN to MR.
And then what happened?
Well, I didn't see her so good at first, so I cleared my throat like I was going to tell her patrons weren't allowed down here.
Uh-huh.
And then she looked at me. Oh, and Miss Diamond, I'll never forget those eyes. Glowing red they was. And her hair, it was kind of flowing around her head like it was underwater or something underwater. And then she opened her mouth as if to scream.
Yes. And then what?
She was just gone. And that's when I run upstairs to tell Lance I run.
And it's a good thing you did, Doghouse. Otherwise, who'd drive you to the doctor to have your head examined?
Lance.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Nora, but do you really think that flimsy excuse for a ghost story passes muster?
Well, if you were better read, you'd know there's more things in heaven and earth than dreamt of in your philosophy, Horatio.
Who's Horatio?
Oh, pay her no mind, Doghouse. We should just ignore her. For one dish I cannot abide is my lady tongue.
What?
I am sick when I do look upon thee.
Shrew.
Cream-faced loon.
Kate and Bonnie Kate, and sometimes Kate the Cursed.
Stop it, both of yous.
What's the matter, Doghouse? You don't like it when Mommy and Daddy use Shakespeare to fight?
I'm okay with it, but I don't think she is. You see her, right? You see her?
Yes, I see her. Who is she?
I don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, she can hang out in the basement all she wants. What do you think, Lance? Lance?
Oh, God's wounds, he's petrified.
Hey, lady? You can't be down here, okay? I said you can't be down here, okay? Ah! I know what you're thinking, and you can stop thinking it. I was not scared. After all, there is no such thing as ghosts. So when I saw the figure of an old woman, glowing white, slightly transparent, and floating about 6 inches above the floor, I was not scared of her. I was just surprised. Surprised, yeah, that's it. I was shocked at seeing such a vision that looked so much like a ghost that I sorta, like I'd seen a ghost. But I haven't. Because they don't exist. I just screamed and ran out of the basement because I wanted a drink. The old nerves were a bit frayed by that, whatever it was, and I thought it was time to visit the bottle in my desk drawer. Turns out Doghouse and Nora agreed because when my wits returned, I found the three of us in my office, paper cups of bourbon in hand. No one said anything for a while. Finally, I broke the ice with one of my famous bon mots. I looked at Nora and said,
Yeah.
That's right. Right it is.
I don't,
No, I don't either. Well, Doghouse, Lance owes you an apology.
What?
Well, you didn't believe him. He said there was a ghost, and he said he should have his head examined.
Well, yeah, but that was just because
Yes?
That was just because there ain't no such things as ghosts, and whatever we saw down there has a logical explanation.
Lance.
Nora, do you think there's a ghost?
Well, I think it's important that we support Doghouse.
So you don't believe it, Miss Diamond?
Well, I mean, I saw something.
Oh.
No, I did see something. I swear I did. I'm not sure.
You just don't think it was a ghost?
Well, it was certainly scary.
That's all right. I understand, I does. You two ain't been here as long as me, so you don't know about her.
About who?
The Lady of the Stacks. Penelope Crow, her name was. Only everybody called her Penny Calder. She was librarian here way back, 1800s maybe. Story was, she was a single lady, just like librarians always used to have to be back in the day. Only this logger named Big Jake liked her. Courtin', they used to call it. Anyways, this logger wanted to marry Penny Crow, but said she had to give up a job at the library. Said no wife of his had worked full-time. Improper, he called it. Penny loved him something fierce, but didn't want to give up the library. She was second in command and hoped to move up to director someday, she hoped. But she just kind of bided her time, hoping to convince him. But then Jake found someone else, married her. They say Penny died of a broken heart. Not long after that, the sightings started.
Sightings?
The woman in white, floating among the stacks. Occasionally books would be moved around too, and let me tell you, if you're in this building late at night, you hear things. Not to mention Miss Stander's story.
What story is that, Doghouse?
Well, she'll never admit it, but a few years back, I found her locked in her office one morning, white as a sheet. She'd been working overnight getting a city audit ready. Looked scared to death, but wouldn't say why. When she left to take the audit to City Hall, I found a book of local ghost stories on her desk. Opened to the page about Penny Crow. Now our boss won't stay in this building after dark.
Doghouse, let me ask you something.
Sure, Lance.
You say this story's written down,
Yeah, here's a couple famous haunting type books that bring it up.
so it's public knowledge.
More or less. I mean, it's not famous-like, but public. Sure.
So, what are you thinking, Lance?
I don't know yet, Dollface, but there's more to this story than long-lost library love. I've been called a lot of things over the years, but a romantic, not even Nora would go that far, which was probably why the idea I had was the idea I had. Okay, I admit that spectral vision we all saw in the basement got to me. A little bit, maybe. But with a little distance and 2.5 bourbons in me, my vision began to clear. What were the chances that the spook I saw was of the supernatural variety and not something more mundane, like special effects? Fact was, the people who dress up their houses for Halloween were so numerous these days, a fairly major industry had grown up around them. The mechanical ghosts and ghoulies you could buy rivaled anything the picture shows put out. Animatronics, holograms, you name it. So who's to say our problem came not from beyond the grave, but COD? I screwed my courage to the sticking place and marched back to the basement with a too bright portable unit. That monster book light lit up the whole hallway where we'd seen the lady in white. And after half an hour of peeking into every nook and cranny, I came up with exactly nothing. But even that was telling. Whoever had put together the supernatural slideshow had good gear. I went back to my office to plan my next move, but I wasn't there 5 minutes when Nora burst through the door.
Lance, you won't believe it.
This week, I'd believe anything, Angel. What's the rumpus?
Well, the front page of the Daily News.
Library reports haunting, patrons petrified.
Did you tell the news? I know you're chummy with that reporter.
Who, Terry Lennox? I haven't seen Terry in weeks. She got sore with me after I gave her a bum steer on that Poodle Springs hoodoo.
Well, someone told the papers, and I can't believe Doghouse would do it.
You're right. And I know Boss Lady wouldn't have told anyone. She'd just as soon stay out of the papers until her obituary.
Well, sounds like you gotta smooth things over with your buddy, Lance. She's our only lead.
Hey, who's the detective around here?
Oh, I'm wrong, am I?
I wish, Dollface, but you got brains. Yes, you have.
Yeah?
Lennox, it's Manly.
Oh, is it? You got a lot of nerve calling me, Lance.
Now take it easy.
Sure, I'll take it easy, and you can take it and shove it right up
I
your...
said take it easy.
I'm not taking advice from you, Manly. You and I are through.
Well, that's a shame, because I heard about a pony in the 5th race they've been holding back.
What pony?
Pumpkin King. He looked pretty good last spring, but he's been running out the money for months now. Rumor is they've been holding him back for the big race on Saturday, waiting for the odds to get nice and fat, and then cleaning up on a big bet.
That's illegal.
So tell a cop.
Why are you telling me this?
I need your help, Terry. And can I remind you I gave that tip before asking?
Sure you did. And the last time I listened to one of your tips, I ended up getting chewed out. My editor had me on wedding announcements for a week. So why don't you just...
Fine. Just tell me go to blazes. Hang up the phone and forget all about that horse. I mean, at least, last time I checked, he was 50-1.
50-1, huh?
That's right. You could clean up on odds like that.
Yeah, all right. What do you want?
Who's the scribbler responsible for the library ghost story on page 1?
Oh, that? Some intern or other. No real reporter would touch it.
Then how's it right above the fold?
Don't ask me. We usually run those Halloween fluff pieces in the lifestyle section. Could be your boss upset an editor around here.
How can you upset someone if you never talk to him?
You upset me plenty, Lance. Thanks for the horse.
That's it? Your only theory is Effie Standish has enemies.
Gee, I'm sorry, Lance. I thought you were a detective. Do you need me to spell it out for you?
I didn't know anyone at your paper could spell, Terry.
Hardy, har, har. We go back, you and I, so I'll give you one last hint.
Yeah?
You want to know about the ghost story? Just read it in the papers.
Terry! Well, nuts. You heard?
Yeah, I heard. No soap, huh?
None. That typewriter jockey is on my no-contact list. You know what she told me? Read the papers, she said. Like that's a clue. Read the papers.
Well, hang on, Lance. Our mystery revolves around the fact that the library's ghost story got better than normal coverage, right?
Right.
Okay, then why would that happen? Why would the newspaper's editor give it such big play?
Well, maybe to get back at me, or you, or Effie. On the other hand, maybe. Give me that paper.
What is it?
Just a second. There.
A full-page ad?
Yeah. And another one. And another one yet.
But they're all different businesses, Lance.
Sure they are. Businesses I've never seen advertised in the news before. And I bet if we do a little digging, I bet we'll find our connection. Which was exactly what Nora and I did. I called in a couple of favors, she chatted up an old friend at the Better Business Bureau, and in an hour we had a solid theory. What came next was a plan, which didn't come to either of us until after dinner and a very nice bottle of wine. So the next night, right after closing time, a trap was laid in the basement. Doghouse and I were huddled up the stairs while Nora just stood a few feet away, staring at the mysterious corner. You ready to go in, Dollface?
Yeah. I think, yeah.
You ain't nervous, are ya? There's nothing to be afraid of, after all.
Oh, there's plenty to be afraid of, Lance. We don't really know what the heck's going on.
Maybe we should call it off. Call it off?
Not on your life, Doghouse. This is our chance to clear the library's good name and help our boss sleep better. You got those welder's glasses?
Right here.
All right. Keep 'em ready. And move slow now.
Oh, here goes.
How do you know this is going to work, Lance?
It's not a sure thing, Doghouse. But my gut tells me we're on the right track. Besides, other than a frayed nerve, I don't think Nora's in any real danger.
Well, frayed nerve can lead to heart attack or stroke, it can.
You're a real ray of sunshine, Doghouse.
Oh, thanks, Lance.
All right, she's in position.
What do we do now?
We wait and we get ready.
Now?
Hold on.
What do you want?
Now?
Just wait.
Just tell me what you want.
There!
Golly!
All right, Ghost. How about a little light on the subject?
What in the blazes? Put out that cursed light, you fool. You'll blind me.
You first, pal. Make with the exorcism. Or maybe I should move this light a little bit closer.
No, no, for pity's sake, no. There, now would you please? Thank you.
Cyrus Amazon?
Just as I suspected.
Very well, you caught me. But you shouldn't hit people with that light, Manley. You could blind a person.
What, this little thing? It's just a book light. Smallest one Too Bright makes, too. But let's not confuse the window dressing for the plot. What are you doing in our basement?
Well, this is a public library, is it not?
Employees only down here, bub. Besides, last time I checked, you didn't even have a card, part of your ongoing war against public libraries.
Socialist fiddle-faddle. My website has all the books the public needs.
At premium prices, of course. What's that in your hand, Amazon?
Not a thing.
Something, I think. Got it.
Vixen, give me that back.
It's a remote, Lance.
Just as we thought. Your website sells a lot of Halloween decorations, don't it, Amazon?
I wouldn't know. I'm more in the finance division.
Well, we do know, because we checked it out. And this particular adornment is a top seller. You snuck into our basement, set up the lady in white, flashed Doghouse a couple of times, then snuck out before we could investigate.
Well, it is Halloween. What's a prank between friends?
Hardly a prank when you use your influence at the newspaper to undermine the library. How many kiddies and old ladies would give us the air if they thought a spook was on the premises?
This is just another attempt to shut us down, isn't it?
Nothing of the kind. Well, I can see my jest in the spirit of the holiday was ill-received, so I shall part company with you. Good evening.
Wait just a minute.
Let him go, Angel. We won this round. And for a character like Cyrus Amazon, there's nothing scarier than losing to a couple of public servants.
Ah!
Nora had fire in her eyes watching Amazon walk away. But I knew our battle wasn't going to be won in a single day. The important thing was the real creep in the library was exorcised right out the door and into his chauffeured Bentley. The boss lady almost smiled when I made my report the next morning. Almost. But she has been a lot more agreeable to the holiday decorations after that. That made Nora happy, as she got to trot out her impressive collection of costumes. I don't mind telling you, Sexy Werewolf was a favorite of mine. And as for Doghouse, he steered clear of that corner of the basement for a while, and didn't complain much when I offered to help him replace that broken light bulb. By and by, things settled back to normal. But I gotta admit, I don't like being in the building after dark no more. So, if you'll excuse me, I have to go someplace too bright.
Too Bright, the only book light scarier than communism, has brought you Lance Manley, Library Detective. Lance Manley, Library Detective, starred Justin Kapla as Doghouse Riley and Cyrus Amazon. Ayla McIntosh was Nora Diamond. Caleb Silvers is Lance Manley, Library Detective. Script and direction by Jeffrey Adams, based on characters suggested by Thomas Perkins IV. One more hand for Lance Manley.
Halloween is the time for spooky stories, and we at the Icebox Radio Theater knew we had to bring a chill or two to the holiday special, or the spirits would be angry with us. So settle in, try and relax, and listen to our first tale of the evening, The Docks We Pass.
Darrell became a very cautious boater the day he nearly ran his outboard up on a reef. It was the fall of the year, and a fog clung to the surface of the lake. He was traveling from a friend's cabin to his own just before dawn. The two of them had spent all night playing cards and drinking, and Daryl had had a fine time. Maybe too fine a time, as he got a little sloppy at the tiller that morning. The rapids seemed to jump up at him, and he had to turn hard to avoid them. Many a fisherman had fallen prey to that field of white foam, filled with hidden rocks of sharp granite. Some suffered damaged hulls. A few even took an unscheduled swim. There was even a story of a fellow dying there. Thrown from his boat, he was. Landed head first on a stone sharp as an axe. They even say his head was separated from his body. But Daryl didn't believe that part of the story. Daryl was a practical man. Back in possession of himself and his boat, he chuckled to himself as he slid peacefully away from the reef and rapids and putt-putted towards home. He felt pleasant, still slightly drunk from the night's revelry, and now past the rapids, he felt very safe indeed. Safe, that is, until he approached the cabin with the lady. It was an old cabin, older than most. The dock was splintered and full of holes. The cabin itself was badly in need of repair. One window was covered with plywood that had itself weathered to gray with age. The other window had a cracked corner repaired with duct tape and was filthy besides. And it was in that filthy window that the lady always appeared. She was tall and thin, her hair as white as snow. The window's filth hid her features, but Daryl had the idea that her expression was sad. Maybe it was her posture, slouched, curved-backed, and head hanging low. Whatever it was, she was always in the window and always gave Daryl the creeps when he motored by. There was something unnatural about the woman, supernatural even. Daryl had lived on this lake his whole life, but he never knew anyone to live in that old cabin. Even as a boy, running through the woods with his pals, causing a ruckus, chucking pine cones at girls they liked, Daryl always knew how to stay away from the nameless cabin, with the one window missing and the other window cracked. He didn't know what it was different about this time. Maybe it was the pre-dawn gloom. Maybe it was all the liquid courage he'd consumed. But he resolved for the first time to slow his crawl at the cabin and give the lady in the window a good, solid look. Maybe he'd even tie up and step onto its dilapidated dock. Maybe he'd talk to the woman, ask why she stared at him whenever he went by. And maybe, just maybe, he'd get an answer to why her staring unsettled him so. He rounded the lake shore and cut the engine as the cabin came into view. He brought his boat around and slid carefully up to the dock, stopping the boat's progress with his boot against a piling. He looked up. There she was. He looped a line over the piling and stepped up onto the dock, never taking his eyes from the figure in the window. He walked to the end of the dock and stepped up onto the shore. There were a few mud and brick steps up to the house, and he took them slowly, never altering his gaze from her. Then, just as he stepped up on the porch, no more than 5 feet from the window, the lady disappeared. Daryl froze. The pins and needles on his neck went into overdrive. He wondered if he should leave, or if he should knock on the door. Then, quite suddenly, the door before him opened with an almost human shriek. The face of a young girl appeared in the doorway. She was a miniature version of the lady he'd been seeing. Only 10, she was, maybe less, but she had the same white hair and the thin silhouette of a waif. And without filthy glass in the way, Daryl could see her eyes, large and black and almond-shaped. They filled Daryl with unease at first gaze. The girl stepped out and closed the door behind her. "Hello," she said. Daryl found his voice gone, but managed to nod a reply. "We're sorry. We didn't know," the girl said. Then she just raised her arm in her hand. Daryl saw a burlap bag that looked very, very old. "Here," she said. "What's this?" Daryl asked. "It's what we took without knowing," she said. "We're sorry." Daryl stared at the bag. It looked like it had been buried for years. Without really thinking, he reached out and took it. "Thank you," he said. "We didn't mean to, really," the girl said. "We found it under the house. When Ma and I moved in, they told us this place was haunted, but we didn't believe. Then we found that there and guessed again." "Haunted?" "Yes, sir. This here place is haunted. That's how we got it so cheap. They told us a fella lost his head in the rapids up the stream a piece, and every morning just before dawn, he comes by in his boat looking at it. Mama's been at the window trying to work up the nerve to bring it out here, and she pointed at the bundle. But finally today, she gave up and asked me to do it. Mama says I don't scare worth a darn on account of being born under a new moon." Daryl could have chuckled at that, but he was transfixed by the rough burlap bundle in his hands. He turned it over and over. There was something hard inside and not quite round. "Please, mister, please don't do it no more. Mama's on her last nerve." "Don't do what?" Daryl asked. "Don't come by here every morning. We don't give it back, so stop now, please." "Every morning? I don't come by here every morning." The girl looked at him. Her eyes, though black, seemed to be the only thing that gave off any warmth. She opened the door without taking her eyes from him and backed over the threshold. Just before she disappeared, she gazed up at him earnestly and said, "Please." And then she was gone. The lock clicked in her absence. Daryl was confused. He felt heat rising on his neck and a kind of buzzing in his ears. He moved the bundle and thought he felt the rough scratch of burlap against his cheek. He found the sack opening, reached inside, and took out a human head. He looked at its face. His own eyes gazed back at him.
Caleb Silvers, ladies and gentlemen. Well, next here on the Icebox Radio Theater, I was very lucky, had a chance to see these ladies perform at, actually it was their own concert right here at the Jester earlier this month, and it was a wonderful evening, very warm as I recall for some reason. It's amazing how a couple of weeks can make a huge, huge difference. But amongst their offerings that night, they played a couple of Halloween songs, or at least songs that could be interpreted to be Halloween tunes, and I was inspired to walk up and introduce myself and ask, "Hey, guys, would you please join us for our Halloween show coming up on the 27th?" And they very graciously said yes. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the microphones from right here in International Falls, Bonfire Heart. Ha! That just shut everybody up. That was amazing. Welcome back to the Salty Chester in International Falls and the Icebox Radio Theater's Spook-a-Boo 23. Yay! Oh, okay, hang on. There we go. Thank you, folks. This half of the show will feature some spooky stories, Halloween comedy, and another song by Bonfire Heart coming up. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Fall is here, which means it is time to get ready for winter at Weird Sisters Flower and Garden. We have a complete collection of carnivorous plants sure to enliven any Halloween or swore-in party. Plus, blood mulch dug during a full moon for a bushier, healthier wolfsbane in spring. And if you use an herb garden to cast spells, we have all the seeds and fertilizer you need to go on tormenting your neighbor's livestock right through spring. Fall is the time to get your compost on those rose beds and make sure all the curses are removed, or at least dormant for winter. And if you're planning on getting a Tomty for the holiday season, now is the time to get your order in. Come and see one of our in-house specialists today to get ready for the season of death at Weird Sisters Flower and Garden on Lake Street across from Graves Manor in Icebox.
It's Halloween time in the Northland, and the streets are full of witches and goblins, superheroes and princesses, all searching for the elusive house that's giving out full-size candy bars. But what's this? Just behind a group of gaily costumed toddlers walks our good friends Woody and Dunhauser, dressed, unsurprisingly, as a pair of Northland fishermen. Zoom in close, and you can hear them say,
Great day in the morning. How many nieces and nephews do you have, Dunghauser?
Oh, this isn't even all of them, Woody. This is just my sister Vera's kids, plus a couple of cousins from out Palin Way. And I just let the farm kids come in town for tricks and treats, you know.
Well, I feel like I need crowd control. How many are there again?
Just Sadie, Sydney, Carl, Carla, Roger, Pete, Trevor, Lug, and Michael.
Lug? You got a kid named Lug?
Oh, that's just the nickname his mama gave him. I guess Lug was real heavy when he was a baby, and she had to carry him everywhere.
Well, he looks pretty heavy now. Hey, what's he doing?
Oh, he's just coming closer to tell us something, Woody. Relax.
I don't like it when they come up to me or stand close to me or just be around me in general.
Oh, just relax.
Uncle Dungy!
What is it, Lug?
The lady in this house gave me an extra Snickers bar. I want you to have it.
Oh, well, that's real nice of you, Lug. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is it, Woody?
Oh, nothing.
No, what's wrong?
It's nothing, I said.
Come on, Woody. There's a mosquito in your tent about something, and I want to know what it is.
Well, how come the kids keep giving you candy?
What?
You know what I mean. It's the third or fourth time one of them kids come up and give you one of their treats. Wasn't like that when I was a kid. You guarded your candy when I tricked or treated, less than you're going to trade up for something better. And the way these kids are giving it away now, I fear for the future of our country.
Well, maybe kids are just a little more generous these days.
Nonsense. Kids are greedy, violent monsters and always will be.
Well, my nieces and nephews aren't. Some of the nicest kids I've ever known.
Oh, nice, huh? Well, if they're so nice, explain to me why they haven't given me one piece of candy since we've been out here.
Oh, so that's what this is about.
What?
You're jealous.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, you don't understand, Woody. They love me. I'm the cool uncle.
Oh, the cool uncle, huh?
That's right. I'm the uncle what brings them fireworks and lets them have those energy drinks after 9 and shows them how to fire off a .22 with just a hammer and a nail.
The cool uncle.
Well, that's right. And they love me for it.
I don't think it's very nice of them giving you candy and ignoring me. After all, I'm out here just like you are.
Well, you didn't need to come. You could have just stayed home.
And spend all night answering the door for some rotten kids? Not on your life.
All right, here, I'll help. Sadie?
Yeah, Uncle Dungy?
Hey, could you do me a favor? Next time a house gives you extra candy for me, make sure to get some for Uncle Woody, too, all right?
Aw, do I have to?
It would be nice.
All right. Hey, you guys, Uncle Dungy says we gotta get treats for the stinky guy.
I am not the stinky guy.
Well,
What?
you do have a unique odor, Woody.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Strange. It's like a combination of mothballs, old fish, and socks.
Socks?
Wet socks.
Well, that's not my fault. I'm a fishing guide. My feet get wet sometimes.
You can always change your socks when they get wet, Woody.
Sure thing, Mr. Rockefeller.
Uncle Dungy,
Oh, here we go.
the last house gave out candy apples. I want you to have mine.
Oh, thank you, Carl. Yeah, and remember what we said.
Oh, yeah. Here, Uncle Woody.
Why, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, now wasn't that nice? I got a candy apple. What'd you get?
Jolly Rancher.
Oh,
A single Jolly Rancher. Purple flavored.
well, that seems very nice.
And it looks like it's been unwrapped and already used.
Here we go again. Here comes Carl.
How on earth can you tell them all apart?
Well, see, Carl has this scar on his cheek from that time when I showed him how to fire off a .22 shell with a hammer and a nail.
Oh.
Uncle Dungy, that last house is giving out whole boxes of Twizzlers. I got you one.
Oh, thank you, Carl.
And here.
Thank you, Carl.
You're welcome.
Well, how about that? Whole box of Twizzlers. What'd you get, Woody?
Can of cat food.
Well,
Ocean medley flavor, my favorite.
come on. Maybe the next house will be better.
Sure thing. Maybe the next house will give me a cat.
Oh, wait a minute. Kids, stop.
What is it? What's wrong?
Well, the next house in line is Crazy Lou's place, and we're not stopping there.
Oh, you mean that loony doomsday prepper? Oh, he's harmless.
No, you don't understand, Woody. It's common knowledge in this town you don't trick-or-treat Lou's house.
Why the heck not?
One time, these two kids went up to his house on a dare, and they were never heard from again.
Which two kids?
Well, I don't know. But my cousin's sister's friend said it's true. Said Lou gunned him down in cold blood.
Did anyone hear any shots?
No,
Did anyone call the police?
I don't think so.
Well, then how do you know the story's true?
I can just feel it in my bones, Woody. I got a sixth sense about these things. Like how I only buy lottery tickets on days when I'm sure to pick a winner.
And have you ever actually won anything playing the lottery?
No. But this one day when I bought a ticket, found a quarter on the ground outside.
Well, you got a real gift there, Dunghauser. I think I'll go up and say howdy to Lou anyway.
You can't do that.
Why not?
It's against the rules. Porch lights off.
Oh, well, I'm not a trick-or-treater. I just want to talk to him about something.
Oh, but he's sure to have all kind of mysterious security measures and deadly booby traps.
Well, that's what I want to talk to him about. He came into the store the other day, bought 3 boat batteries, but only paid for 2. Said he'd give me the balance later.
So what's the rush?
It's later, ain't it?
Oh, boy, all right, I'll come with. Just wait a second.
I thought you were afraid.
Just wait a second. Hey, kids, go on to the next house. I got to help Uncle Woody with something.
But that's Crazy Lou's house, Uncle Dungy. You can't go in there.
Yeah, well, Crazy Lou owes Woody money, and I don't think he's going to give up till he gets it.
Okay. We'll tell the police where to start looking.
Real good, then. All right. Nobody eating the candy till I've had a chance to inspect it.
Yes, Uncle Dungy.
Oh, geez, Woody, I don't know about this.
Oh, just relax. Only take a minute and you can get back to your fan club.
Oh, it's not the kids I'm worried about. It's what Lou might have in his yard.
We'll be fine. Just come on.
This isn't good, Woody. This is dangerous.
Well, I'm pretty sure Lou doesn't have anything dangerous in the yard.
Oh, how come?
Well, for one thing, it's illegal.
Lou doesn't recognize the government. Said he renounced his citizenship after they elected that crazy liberal president.
Who, Obama?
No, Ronald Reagan.
Well, between you and me, I feel perfectly safe in here.
Why?
Because I don't think that crazy Lou could ever make a booby trap that might actually work.
Whoa! What happened? Where are we?
It's a rope net. That crazy Lou caught us in a rope net.
Well, can we get down?
We're 20 feet in the air if we're an inch.
Oh, how can this night get any worse?
Halt! Don't move!
Lou, that you?
I said don't move!
We're stuck in a rope net, you idiot. How are we supposed to move?
You're moving right now!
Am not?
Am so? You're swinging gently back and forth. I can see you.
What do you want me to do about that?
Stop swinging!
How?
Use Condon's second law of motion and counterbalance the energy of the net and reverse the inertia.
Gee, it's so obvious when you say it like that.
Uh-oh.
What is it? What's wrong?
I don't think I should have had that candied apple.
Why not?
Well, because I don't think this net's strong enough to hold both of them.
Oh! Oh!
I think
think I broke something.
How many times do I have to tell you guys? Don't move.
Well, once the net broke, we didn't have a lot of choice, Lou. And point that rifle somewhere else.
I'll point it where I want. This is my property, and you're a vandal.
I am not.
Or so.
All right. If I'm a vandal, what did I vandalize?
Well, you broke the rope net.
Oh, for the love of...
Now, calm down. I'm sorry, Lou. We didn't know about the rope net, and we didn't mean to break it.
A likely story. What are you doing up in it, then?
You caught us, remember?
Well, when I said the rope net, I certainly didn't expect to catch two miscreants of your weight.
Hey.
No, I understand. We'll just be going.
Wait a minute. Why'd you come and sign the security perimeter to begin with?
Well, you owe me money, that's why.
So you thought you'd collect on Halloween? Very foolish, Woody. Very foolish.
Well, what do you mean?
This is All Hallows Eve, the night when lawless and terror strikes the hearts of God-fearing property owners. And it's up to us to defend our homes or face the consequences.
The consequences being...
Trick-or-treaters.
Well, what's so bad about trick-or-treaters? Dunghauser and I have a whole pack of them.
So you're in on the scam, huh?
Well, not me. Dunghauser's the one getting the candy. I'm just in it for the cat food.
I didn't know you had a cat, Woody.
Well, I don't, but the night's still young.
Look, Lou, I understand how you want to protect your property and everything, but our kids are all right. Heck, most of the kids in town are all right. What do you got against trick-or-treaters anyhow?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, I love Halloween. I just don't want them on my property.
Well, your house is set way back on the lot. How can they trick-or-treat without coming on your property?
That's where ingenuity comes in. Woody, hold my gun.
All right.
And be sure to halt anyone coming up the driveway and demand they stand and be recognized.
I'll be sure to do that just as soon as I care.
What's this got to do with trick-or-treaters?
It's strapped on my back. This.
A bazooka?
Close. Started as a bazooka, but I modified it.
You really shouldn't go modifying firearms, Lou. Remember what happened last time.
Oh, that was just a misunderstanding between me and North Korea. This is totally different. I replaced lethal firepower with treat delivery velocity.
With what?
Like I said, I love Halloween, but I don't want any of those nasty kids on my lawn. So instead of having kids come to the candy, I send the candy to the kids.
You mean it's a candy cannon?
Of course not. That would be stupid. It's a cheap bazooka.
Oh, sorry. My mistake.
Observe. You see the group of kids over there?
Yeah?
Watch. Hey, kids! Trick or treat! Of course, I still have to calibrate the muzzle velocity.
You're a menace, Lou.
And a spoil sport.
What does that mean?
Halloween's supposed to be about kids having fun. You don't shoot candy at them from 50 yards.
But I told you, I love Halloween.
Nonsense. Someone who loves Halloween would invite the kids in, make spooky treats, put up a decoration or two.
I have decorations.
What? Where?
All around us. The whole yard is decorated.
I hate to bring bad news there, Lou, but there ain't no decorations here.
Oh, well, of course you can't see them.
Come again?
My decorations. You can't see them.
You have invisible decorations.
Of course not.
Oh, good. For a minute there, I thought you'd finally gone crazy.
They're not invisible. Just camouflaged really well.
You mean you got decorations right now? In this yard?
Sure, all around us.
Give me a for instance.
Well, you see that bush over there?
Sure.
Not really a bush. It's actually a ghost.
Really? Well, that's amazing. What about that shrub?
Tombstone.
Wow. And the bird bath?
Axe murder. Here, that one has sound. I work it with a remote.
How'd you do all this, Lou?
I work on it all year. I told you, I love Halloween.
Now let me get this straight. You go out, you buy a bunch of Halloween decorations, bring them home, then spend hours so they don't look like Halloween decorations anymore?
It's a very fulfilling hobby, Woody.
Wow.
What did you do?
This ficus is one of them.
That's my witch. She has a motion sensor hooked up to sound effects. See?
Of all the dumb schemes you've come up with, Lou, this has got to be the dumbest.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I mean a decoration is a decoration because it just is, all right? You can't change the way a thing looks and still call it a decoration.
Why not?
Because this is like arguing why is there air?
You know, I always wondered why there was air.
Not helping, Dunghauser.
You just don't understand Halloween, Woody.
Yeah.
I like decorating, and I want the decorations to be safe. If I had a bunch of regular witches and ghosts in the yard, teenagers could come along and wreck it all just for kicks. I just want to protect my investment. Is That's so weird.
But if you can't see them, they're not really decorations.
You can see them. They're right there.
What there's right there is a bush, Lou, a bush. It's not a witch.
It is so a witch.
Oh, yeah, and I suppose this part here is her wart-covered nose.
That's not her nose, Woody.
Lou, I gotta tell you, this is weird even for you.
You ask me. You just don't understand Halloween.
Yeah.
And you quit jumping over to his side.
No, I agree with him, Woody. You just don't understand the spirit of the holiday.
Well, I do so. Trick-or-treaters replaced the real evil spirits people used to leave gifts and food out for to ward off misfortune in the coming winter. It was the old Samhain festival.
The what?
The Samhain Festival. Old Celtic festival of fires.
Yes, that's right.
Maybe you do understand Halloween, Woody.
How do you know all this?
Well, I do read, Dunghauser. There's plenty of time at the store.
Which reminds me. Here's a balance of those batteries, Woody.
Well, ain't that nice? Thank you, Lou. And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you guys.
Thanks. We better be getting back to the kids, Woody.
And I better get back to my observation post.
You really worry about trick-or-treaters that much?
Well, it's not just them. I have some security measures I have to keep an eye on.
What was that, Lou?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing illegal.
Lou, do you have something chained up in the backyard?
Oh, of course I do, Woody. You wouldn't fit in the basement.
What is it?
Oh, just something I ordered offline.
Oh, online.
Yeah, kind of a science project. Sort of like one of those sea monkeys that you could buy out of comic books, only bigger.
I think that's our cue, Dunghauser. The kids need us to check their candy or cat food or something.
Yeah, we still got to find you that cat, too.
Yeah, whatever. Let's go. See you, Lou.
Happy Samhain, Woody.
Right. See you later.
What a great holiday. I told you, you can't go out trick-or-treating with the other kids until you clean your room. That may be true, but those are the rules. Now get cracking, and I might let you have some of the candy I bought. That is, if there's any left. Hey, kids! Trick-or-treat!
That is Trick or Treat. Jeffrey Adams, Justin Kapla, Scotta Turner, and Ayla McIntosh has like 6 or 7 children. Time to go back to the scares.
Cheryl was a nervous traveler. She always had been. She carried a complete set of road maps for Minnesota, plus the 4 states around it, as well as 2 GPS systems. The trunk of her basic late-model sedan, which rated top in its class for safety, contained not 1, but 4 real spare tires. Cheryl couldn't tell you when this mania for safe travel began, and if she were honest, she'd admit there was no real reason for it. She was just plagued with the uneasy feeling that there was something bad was going to happen to her, and it would happen on the road. Winter was the worst. Winters in northern Minnesota could be unpredictable. Weather could go bad unexpectedly. Reporting on road conditions could be spotty. Snow, ice, wind, blowing snow, all of these things could descend with little or no warning. Cheryl preferred to avoid it all. And yet she found herself in her car late on a Tuesday evening, driving south on Highway 53 to visit her sister in Cook. She was nervous, distracted. If she hadn't been so nervous, she might have noticed several odd things about this trip. The moon seemed to disappear and then reappear, despite the heavy cloud cover. Fog swirled along the roadway, despite the fact that it was bitter cold and had been for some time. But strangest of all was the lack of cars. Cheryl had driven for nearly an hour without seeing a single other vehicle. Admittedly, it was late on a winter Tuesday, but she should have seen something. There should have been headlights approaching her, or in her rearview mirror. She noticed none of this. Instead, she gripped the wheel and stared unblinking at the ribbon of asphalt in front of her, trying to stay alert, sure the danger would come leaping out of the woods at any moment. But she did not see anything strange. until the roadblock. It appeared at a distance of about 100 yards as Cheryl rounded a corner and entered a long straightaway. She had plenty of time to slow down and take it all in. There were orange and white barricades, flashing amber lights, and a large detour sign pointing her onto a rugged gravel road off to the right. Strangely, there were no people, no cops or highway workers. And stranger still, the roadblock went right across the entire highway, blocking traffic both ways. It seemed she had little choice but to follow the detour sign and plunge into the dark woods. She turned onto the gravel road. It was wide and flat and covered with just a dusting of snow. There were no real streetlights, of course, and the car's high beams couldn't seem to penetrate the woods past the first row of trees. Cheryl concentrated on the tire ruts that ran in front of her, and after driving for 5 or 10 minutes, she realized there was something strange about this road. For one thing, the tire ruts she drove in were only on her side. Clearly, cars had headed down this road in her direction, but none had come back the other way. She'd almost decided to turn around and head back to the highway when suddenly the bottom dropped out. Cheryl's stomach leapt into her throat as she felt falling, and then she was jolted by a bone-rattling crunch as the car slammed into the side of a hill, sloping downward. The road had ended suddenly, and Cheryl went over the edge at full speed. The car slipped and slid down the embankment and finally came to rest, sliding along the bottom of what appeared to be a massive gully. Cheryl panted hard, her heartbeat drumming in her ears. Her foot cramped where it was mashed against the brake pedal. She finally managed a breath, and the tears began to flow. After a few minutes, she calmed down and stepped out of the car to try and untangle her seized muscles. Immediately, her foot slipped out from under her and she barely caught herself on the car's roof. She scuffed some snow out of the way and revealed the smooth surface of hard ice beneath it. It was a lake. She was standing on frozen water. Looking around, she surmised she was at the bottom of a great pit. Probably one of those open pit mines around Eveleth or Virginia. After they play out, the pits fill with water and become lakes. Looking down, she could not tell how deep this one was. It could be 6 inches or 600 feet. There was no way for her to tell in the darkness. And then Cheryl looked up and saw shapes all around her. Cars. There were other cars on the lake. There were trucks and vans and SUVs and commercial vehicles, and all of them were parked haphazardly, as if they had simply slid to a stop as she had. There were hundreds of them, all dark, all quiet. And then Cheryl saw something that gave her a glimmer of hope. A police car was about 50 yards away. She slid and shuffled as best she could and managed to reach it without falling again. Its windows were completely covered with frost. She knocked on the driver's side. There was no response. She hesitated for a moment and carefully tried the door. It was unlocked. She opened it 2, then 3 inches, just enough to see inside. She froze, terrified. There was a figure behind the wheel. It was black. Completely black, like a hole in the fabric of space. It was in the shape of a person, but it wasn't a person, or even a statue of one. It was just the absence of light. Then the figure's head turned toward her and a wide gap opened where its mouth should be, and Cheryl saw row upon row of blindingly white teeth smiling at her, each one sharpened to a needle point. Cheryl ran. She fell several times getting back to her car, but she made it just the same. She slammed and locked the door and began to crank the engine. It stalled and choked, and then settled into the repetitive grinding noise that went on no matter how hard Cheryl pressed the key into the ignition. And then she saw them. From all around her, from out of every car, the black figures were emerging and beginning to walk toward her. And as they grew close, she saw figure after figure sporting a needle-sharp smile of needle-sharp teeth. Cheryl screamed for the last time. Several hours later, miles away at the county morgue, an attendant looked up from his phone as 2 paramedics pushed a stretcher containing a body bag into the room. "What's this?" he asked. Just found her on the road, one of the paramedics said. Car accident? No, nothing like that. Looks like she just pulled onto the shoulder and had a heart attack. Good thing she shot to get off the road. Traffic's pretty heavy tonight. Probably a nervous traveler, the attendant said. He reached for the zipper that would undo the bag and found his hand stopped by one of the paramedics. Just prepare yourself, he said. There's no injuries, but her face. The attendant smirked. You didn't do this job without developing an immunity to some gruesome sights. He pulled down the zipper, pulled back the vinyl flaps, and gasped, stumbling backwards. Inside the bag lay Cheryl, her eyes still wide with terror, and her mouth was pulled back into a grimace of needle-sharp teeth.
Ayla McIntosh, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, we're next.
I know we're next. I've got eyes, haven't I?
Oh, relax.
Relax?
Yes, relax.
How can I relax? Tracy, we're smugglers.
Well, not until we get through customs. Until then, we're attempted smugglers.
$600 worth of steaks.
It's not that much, is it?
$600? That's probably a felony or a deportable offense, or maybe they'll just take you out back and shoot you.
Oh, come on. The worst that's going to happen is they confiscate the steaks.
Ha! That's the worst? I don't think so. That's the Department of Homeland Security up there, Tracy. They've got guns.
I don't think the guns are for dealing with steaks.
How did we let Bob talk us into this?
As I recall, he said free steak and you started salivating.
I'm such an idiot.
And you kept salivating until back at the duty-free when you realized we were going to have to bring them back across the border.
I knew we were going to have to bring them across the border. I just didn't think we were going to go through customs, that's all.
You were thinking maybe a boat in the dead of night?
Perhaps.
Okay, here we go. Would you please try and relax?
I'm trying.
You look like Charles Manson in a Broncos sweater. Hello?
Evening. Can I see some ID, please? Where are you both from?
The Falls.
International Falls, Minnesota, where I was born, legally.
And what was the purpose of your visit to Canada?
Oh, we just went to a friend's house for a movie.
A legal movie. He had the receipt for the DVD and everything.
Your friend seems a little nervous.
Yeah. I guess she's always this way, so I don't even notice no more.
She's always what way?
Kind of an idiot.
Okay. Is there anything you're bringing back from Canada this trip?
No, there isn't.
I see.
What's he doing?
He's writing on a clipboard. I think he's checking our IDs.
Tracy, I have to tell you something.
What?
I'm 2 months behind on my gas bill. Do you think he knows that?
What?
Okay, folks, I'm going to have you pull forward under the overhang there, and somebody will be with you shortly.
What? Why?
Just pull forward, please. We'll be right with you.
Oh, no.
Cool it.
No. We're going to jail. I can't go to jail. What do you think they do to steak smugglers in jail, Tracy? Is it horrible?
Would you just shut up?
I bet it's horrible. They can't get steak in jail, you know.
Paula.
I'll get shivved in the yard. I just know it.
Cool it. Look, as far as we know, this isn't even a search. Sometimes when they pull you over here, it's just to give you that little talk about our agriculture.
On nice days, look around, Tracy. It's cold. It's October. There's a spooky moon over there. The only reason they'd be coming out is to snap on the cuffs.
No one has accused of us anything. Just calm down.
Oh, here they come.
Calm down. And no rule. Let me do the talking.
Okay.
Okay, folks, can I have you unlock your back there, please?
Is everything okay, officer?
The back, if you don't mind.
Oh. All right.
Oh, no.
I know. I'm sorry, Paula.
Well, Weird.
What?
Well, now that it's happened, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah. Okay, sure. I mean, this is the worst thing that could happen. And what?
They confiscate the steaks.
They confiscate Bob's steaks.
Right. What's the big deal?
Hey, what's in the box back here?
Oh, that?
The cardboard box?
I'm gonna have to open this up and take a look.
Oh well, that's that.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen now? What?
I don't...
What happened?
It was...
Yeah?
What?
I don't know.
Me neither.
Tracy,
Yes?
something's in the box.
I know.
Did it just eat the custom guard?
I don't know. I'll check.
Okay.
Huh.
What?
I can't seem to move.
Do you want me to check?
Yes.
Well, forget it. I'm not going back there.
Well, what do we do?
I don't know. You're the smart one.
Pull that, why don't you? Every argument that we have, my SAT scores mean nothing. Now, all of a sudden, I'm the smart one?
Well, get us out of this.
Oh, wait. Here comes another guard.
Good. Tell them what's going on.
Okay. What? No!
What?
Well, what can I tell them?
Evening.
Good evening?
Have you folks been helped?
Yes? No. Sort of?
Officer, there's something in our trunk, but you can't look at it.
I beg your pardon.
You can't go back and look in our trunk. It's a matter of life or death.
Okay, I'm going to have you two get out of the car, please, both of you, and stand over there.
Officer, please.
I'm not going to tell you again, ma'am. Please, just get out of the car.
Oh, come on.
You can't.
Ma'am, I'm not going to tell you again. Please stand over there.
Look, I know you have to do your job and everything, but...
Please.
No, you have to understand.
Stand over there now.
You'll be sorry.
Okay, not one more word out of you two. Stand there, stay where I can see you, and don't do anything. I'm going to open this trunk, and I don't want to see any of you.
What? Did you see?
Yeah.
It had tentacles.
We have to get out of here.
And leave the car?
Paula, there's a man-eating creature from hell in the way back. Yes, we leave the car.
Excuse me?
What?
Don't hurt us.
Oh, I beg your pardon. My appearance. I had an accident when I was a little baby.
Oh, what happened?
I was born. I am Edgar the Winter. Bob sent me.
Bob? You know Bob?
Oh, we went to school together. Are you the party transporting my sticks?
Your steaks?
Yes, Bob said you wouldn't mind.
Look, you gotta know something about these steaks.
Oh, they've been naughty, haven't they? Yes. I like my steaks naughty.
Okay. Look, why don't you just take your steaks and go?
Surely. Could I entreat you two for a ride? I'm just going downtown.
You know what? Take the car.
The car?
Yeah, just take the car. Leave it with Bob.
If you insist. Can I offer you a ride?
No.
Oh, I must repay the kindness. One of these sticks, perhaps?
No! Just go.
Very well.
Every year, the illegal import of tainted beef products costs the American taxpayer hundreds of millions of dollars. If someone asks you to drive a case of beef or beef byproduct into the United States, we at the federal government urge you to just say no. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The town used to live for Friday nights and games at the arena. Even when the population fell, when graduating classes went from 300 to 100, there was always the constant of the hockey team and cold Friday nights when, at least for a brief time, people would gather and talk about old times, when trips to the state tournament in March were regular, even expected. But those times were in the past. Many people said that the Icebox 6 was a ghost of the team they used to be. 6 was a rather silly nickname. No one was quite sure of its origin, other than, of course, hockey as a game played six-a-side. Some years it seems like 6 was all the players they could field. Outnumbered 3-1, the boys would do their best, but losses seemed inevitable. And then everything changed. Renoir came to town. Renoir was a goalie from Quebec, whose father had bought a piece of property down Old Farm Road. They were a quiet people who mostly kept to themselves. His father, a massive bear of a man, was only occasionally seen in town and spoke almost no English. He got by with grunts and hand gestures. Renoir's mother was surely not his real mother. She was a girl maybe 10 years older than her son, and a wisp of a thing. Raven black hair, large, judging eyes, and the pale, translucent skin of a heroine from a Poe story. Other than driving Renoir to practice, she was not seen in town at all. But that didn't matter much to the town. The town forgave all once they saw Renoir play. Renoir was gifted between the pipes. He brought to mind famous Quebecer netminers like Martin Brodeur, Patrick Roy, and even Jacques Plante. And as is the way of the game, Renoir's presence in the Icebox 6 transformed them into winners. A hot goalie changes everything, and Renoir never seemed to cool down. Backstopped by him, the 6 were beating schools they hadn't beaten in years. These boys, who had grown up with the weight of the past upon their shoulders, no longer needed to fear that a single mistake would result in disaster. Renoir could be counted on for 30, 40, sometimes 50 saves a game. Occasionally spectacular, but always rock solid. It was as if the sum knowledge of the position had been distilled into one 17-year-old boy. His English was poor, and despite his prowess on the ice, he was a loner at school, except for one teammate, a boy named Anderson. Anderson played left defense and was liked by everybody. He was not exactly popular, but in a school this small, everyone has a place. Anderson's place was the background of activity photos and the bench of most teams. Anderson and Renoir were attached at the hip. They took classes together, ate lunch together, and Renoir, who drove a beat-up Fiat his father had cobbled together from spare parts, drove Anderson to and from practice, as they both lived along Old Farm Road. And of course, they skated together. January became February, and the old-timers began to raise their hopes that this team, this version of the Icebox 6, would break through and qualify for the state tournament for the first time in 50 years. With Renoir, all seemed possible. Renoir, because of the language barrier, said very little about this. He said very little in school, or to the old-timers who tried to shake his hand, or to the legions of girls who tried to get his attention. Even to Anderson, his only real confidant, he said very little. But you could tell he understood the importance of what was happening. Here in a small Minnesota town, Renoir felt the full weight of the community's hopes and dreams resting on his slim shoulders. A berth in the state tournament was so important it might as well have been the big leagues to these people. And as the season played out and the team kept winning, the pressure on Renoir increased. He began to grow thin and reedy. The circles under his eyes darkened from lack of sleep, and his dinner plate went untouched most nights. If his father noticed, he said nothing. And his father's wife had other things to worry about as she was with child and struggled with sickness and loneliness. She had no sympathy for her stepson, the hockey star. The regular season came to an end. The Icebox 6 had earned themselves the right to host a game in the regional tournament, the competition just before state. They won that game and the next one besides. There was one final playoff for the prize the town most coveted. The game in the arena, the fans, the bands, the pageantry, the state tournament. It was a taste the townspeople had not sampled in decades, and they were obsessed with tasting it again. The regional final was on a bitterly cold night. The week before had been a midwinter lie, a balmy stretch of days some called strawberry spring. The sun came out, the thermometer touched 50, and the constant sound for a day and a night was the dripping of melting snow. But all of this was a deception, a false promise, and when the temperature plummeted back to seasonal norms just before the game, more than one person around town thought it an omen, a lesson about false hope. But Friday night came, and the people, if they had a chance to come to the game, came in droves. Pickups and SUVs, all with full tanks of gas so their engines could be left running, filled the school parking lot. It was the largest crowd the old arena had seen in years. The Icebox 6 stepped through the gate to thunderous cheers. The cheerleaders all looked their prettiest, their hair braided identically with ribbons in the team colors. They put hours of work into a figure skating routine they created especially for this game, and it went off without a single mistake. Then as the warm-ups finished, the lights in the arena dimmed. The ice seemed to glow softly, even magically. And as the skaters for each side lined up, the crowd held its collective breath. Something was wrong. You could hear the crowd's unease grow by the murmuring that circled the arena. For it was not Renoir in the net for the Icebox 6. It was his backup, a freshman who'd not played a single minute all season. He looked nervous and jittery. He needed help from two teammates scuffing up the ice in his crease. He hung his head as if he was going to be sick. As the puck was dropped, more people watched the bench than watched the game, looking to see if Renoir was present. And when he wasn't, they shifted their vigil to the locker room door, hoping to see it fly open and Renoir come charging out. But their hopes were in vain. Their star was missing. First there was a goal, then a stupid penalty, then another goal. The whole team looked out of sorts, hanging back timidly at the wrong moments, then charging in clumsily when they should have been patient. When the first period ended and the score was 2-0, everyone silently thanked the fates that it had not been worse. In the locker room, the coach rallied his troops as best he could, but it was an impossible task. The second period was spent in the Icebox 6's end. By committing entirely to defense and harmlessly dumping the puck to the opposite end, the Icebox 6 managed to give up only one goal in that period. The second intermission came, and the score was 3-0. The locker room was sullen and resigned. Already some of the boys were talking about what a good season it had been. No one blamed the freshman goalie who sat in one corner, a shell-shocked look on his face. Everyone, coaches and players alike, seemed resigned. The result of the game was still a period to play, seemed preordained. It served an important purpose. It sent a message. Don't hope. Then everything changed. No one was really sure when he entered the locker room. No one had seen it happen. But as the intermission ticked down, everyone gradually fell silent. One by one, they looked into one corner, where there sat Renoir, putting on his gear. Had he always been here? Had he just entered? The coaches, who should have given him a tongue lashing for being late, said nothing. They would never admit it, but it chilled their bones just to look at the boy. He might have been a bit paler, but he always was very pale. He might have been a bit quieter, but he always was very quiet. The only thing about him that was strange is that as he got ready, he kept his goalie helmet on. For practical reasons, goalies put their helmets on second to last, just before the gloves, but Renoir had his on from the start. When the team stepped through the gate onto the ice to start the third period, a kind of low hum began to reverberate through the crowd, and then, as the reality of it sunk in, the cheers began, the deafening roar. Renoir glided over the fresh ice to his position. The chant shook the rafters of the old arena. Renoir, Renoir, they sang. The cheering did not stop for the first 5 minutes, as the Icebox team won the opening face-off and did not give up the puck. They dug it out of the corners, slammed their overwhelmed opponents into the boards, flung shot after shot at the goal. First goal seemed inevitable because it was. At the stroke of 5 minutes, the Icebox 6 scored. 3-1. The slap in the face seemed to wake up the opponents, who pushed back mightily, keeping the puck in the Icebox end for the next few minutes. They peppered Renoir shot after shot after shot, and he was up to the challenge each and every time. Though this was not the solid, fundamentally sound play the crowd was used to seeing, this was spectacular and somehow disturbing. Renoir twisted and turned, deflecting or catching puck after puck. He seemed to bend in ways a human being should not bend. But he stood up to the barrage, and after a fluke penalty, in the 10th minute, Icebox scored again to make the tally 3-2. Time ticked down. With 2 minutes left, the coach called Renoir to the bench for an extra attacker. He sat separate from everyone else, and they ignored him. A kind of collective superstition had settled on the team. They could not look at Renoir, or else the strange magic of the game would disappear. Then, up 6 skaters to 5, the Icebox boys found an open man in front of the net. The shot was blocked. The rebound trickled toward a teammate on the open side. The goalie lunged. The puck zipped over his glove by an inch. 3-3. Overtime. In the break before the extra period, Renoir sat silent in the locker room, a towel over his head, his hands completely lifeless in his lap. It was eerie the way he did not move. Usually Renoir was a normal goalie, jittery, nervous, his hands busy with a roll of tape, his knee bouncing up and down, but now he was still, silent, and the team still refused to look at him. When it came time to return to the ice, Renoir was at the head of the line again. No one could remember seeing him stand up. No one could remember him brushing past them. He was just there, leading the team through the gate to the sound of hoarse screaming in the crowd. The overtime only lasted 4 minutes. The opponents were weary and overwhelmed by the level of emotion pouring down upon them from the stands, and they were unnerved by Renoir, the way he twisted and turned, the way he stood still and silent when the puck was at the other end. It was no wonder the opponents were goaded into a mistake, a penalty, a missed check, a goal. Icebox had won. Delirium descended upon the arena. Icebox's bench emptied. Their sticks, helmets, and gloves littered the ice. The boys collected along the boards in one massive hug, and from the stands above the sounds of joyful relief rolled down upon them like thunder. And when they turned to welcome Renoir into their embrace, they found him gone. Later that night, when Anderson and his father drove home from the game, they crested the small hill on Old Farm Road to see emergency lights flashing on the frozen sky. A state trooper flagged them down, then let them pass when they proved they lived along the road, and warned them not to look. "Car accident," he said. "Bad. No survivors." The Andersons' truck slowed down, slow enough for the young defenseman, still wearing his regional championship medal, to see the twisted remains of what had once been a cobbled-together Fiat wrapped around a tree. His blood ran cold as he remembered the number of times he took silent rides in that car, in Renoir's car. He could just see inside. The familiar slim figure was still in the driver's seat, his body twisted and crumpled into unnatural position as blood dripped down the door onto the gravel below. Back in the arena, the team's equipment manager cheerfully sorted through the gear that had been collected in their locker room, and among helmets and gloves, sweaters and tape balls, he found Renoir's complete kit, stick skates and all. And when the boy picked up one skate, his blood ran cold. It felt wrong. It was too heavy and cold like ice. And when he turned the boot upside down, foul and sour dirt poured out. The manager dropped the boot and ran from the room. Later, he would claim the dirt smelled like a cemetery. They delayed Renoir's funeral so the Icebox 6 could keep their date at the state tournament. Without him, they lost their first game 14-2 and came home to a very subdued celebration. In the weeks to come, the story would circulate that the car crash that killed the young goalie had happened 30 minutes before the game began. This was nonsense, of course, and cooler heads insisted that such rumors had to stop immediately. But the police records with the exact time of the accident mysteriously disappeared, and none of the boys on the team, even as they grew to men, would talk about that final, fateful game. So naturally, the legend has only grown. From that day forward, every equipment manager, hockey player, figure skater, or coach knows not to be in the arena after midnight. That's Renoir's time, they say. And if you press your ear to the door, you'll hear someone skating in circles, around and around and around, forever. The Goalie is the name of that one. Well, I believe we have just enough time for me to talk so the girls can get up here and get set for a wonderful song that is actually the one that inspired me to ask you guys to come and be here tonight. Their harmonies are beautiful, aren't they? They're just so wonderful together. They sound so sweet. And this song is about the movie Night of the Living Dead. So we're going to conclude our show tonight one more time. Welcome them to the microphones. Bonfire Heart.
And we're coming to get you, Barbara. We're here now and we're in the room. Don't be afraid, we just want your brain. And we're coming to get you, Barbara. We got here a little too soon. You won't mind the pain once we've eaten your brain.
Bonfire Heart, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a big round of applause. And your cast returning for one last bow. Ayla McIntosh, Caleb Silvers, Justin Kapla, Scotta Turner, and Jade Hall. A big thank you to Ian Hall, our engineer. Happy and safe Halloween. Good night.